Okay, so inequality. Okay, so remember when you guys have an equation, something like, I don't know, 2x equals 4, right? You have an equal sign, right? But when it's an inequality, now you've got one of these. Okay, now the belt. Whatever. All right, so this, remember that the part that's open, that means that's bigger, right? And the part that's closed, that's means smaller. So if I have this equation, and or inequality, I can solve that, right? The same way I do this one, divide by 2. And now x is greater than 2. So what does that mean? That means that your answer can be anything as long as it's what? Bigger than 2. Okay, so your answer could be 3, answer could be 10, answer could be 105. These are all good because they're bigger than 2, right? Now let's say that I switch this and I put less than now. Now x is less. Okay. Now your answers have to be numbers that are less than 2. Okay. So like -1. What's another number less than 2? -3. How about you, Machinga? What's the number less than 2?
-2.
-2. Okay, -99. Okay, those are all answers that work. Now, if I do this, that they can be less and
Good morning, ECD. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated.
So now the answer can be less or what does that mean? The equal. Okay. So it can be all these answers and it can be 2. Okay, the answer can be 2. All right. So when you solve these. All right, so what we need to remember is how to say them for one. All right, so if I see this, okay, x is less than, okay, x is less than 5. Okay, if it's like this, sorry, like not like that. Now x is greater or bigger or more than 5. Okay, if it's this one, we'll say x is less than or equal. Okay, and then the opposite, it's the same thing here. X is greater than or equal. Okay, we want to make sure we know at least how to say it first. All right. Now, the first day you guys got problems like this. You had something like, let's say x is less than 7, and what you had to do is you actually had to graph that on a number line. Okay, so you had to go, all right, put this on the line. I'll put 0 here, and then I'll put +7 there. It doesn't matter where you put it. Okay, and if the symbol looked like this, or if it was a symbol that did not have an equal sign, what kind of circle did you have to put? Open, right? Whereas if it was like this, then we have to put a closed dot. All right. So on this one, we're going to use a what? Open dot. Now it says x is less than. So if it's less than, which way do we point the arrow? Right. We want to go this way. Okay. So now we're going less than this way. And if I flip it around, let's say I go x is greater than or equal to 7. Okay, now, so that my graph the same way, I can still put a circle here, but now what kind of circle machine that? Or this one, yeah, closed up. And where's the arrow go? Do I go left or right? Yeah, it's go right. Because it's greater than. Okay, and obviously the shortcut is looking at that symbol and it's pointing this way, right? That works when it's just X. Okay, now when you guys do delta math, you're going to see a little bit different one. It's going to look something like this. You're going to see one number with X in the middle, and you're going to have two signs. Okay, some will look like this, but then some will look like that. Okay, this is like two of these put together. Okay, now look at X in the middle. You see how the sign is open right there? So what's bigger, 3 or X?
3.
No, the X is bigger. Because look at where the sign is open. Okay, if you guys think about it, when you guys were younger, maybe if you saw this when you were little, your teacher told you, that's a fish, right? And the fish wants to eat the bigger number. Or maybe they told you it was a crocodile, right? Or alligator. There's your alligator, right? Okay, he wants to eat the bigger number. So wherever it's open, that is the bigger number, okay? So that's the bigger number here. So that means that X is greater than 3, but X is less than 5. Less than 5. So when I put this on a number line, I have 3, I have 5. Now, what kind of dot do I put? What kind of circle? Open circles, okay? And I got to put 2 of them because I'm talking about 2 numbers. Okay, now it says that it is greater than 3. So that means I would go this way because greater is to the right. But it says less than 5. And less than 5 is to the left. But I can't go past 3 because it has to be more than 3. And I can't go past 5 because it has to be less than 5. So what I do is I just shade them. Okay. Okay. The other example you guys might see would look like this. X is greater than 5. What's that equal to? And X is less than 3. Okay, it's going to give me 2 at the same time. Make sure I'm in the video. Okay, I have 2 at the same time, which means same thing. Put the 3, put the 5. I'm going to put my circle, that's closed. And this one's open. Okay. For here, it says X is greater than 5. Greater is to the right. X is less than 3. That's to the left. So look, you have 2 graphs on one line. Okay. You see how X is in the middle? So your answer is in the middle. These are separate, so they go both different ways. Okay. So these are the types of graphs you're going to see. You see just one number, you go one direction or the right. You may have to shade in the middle because the answer's in the middle, it's between. Or they might be going this way. Okay. So that's for the delta math assignment. You guys will see it on Friday. Okay, that's for tomorrow. Okay, so the thing I want to focus on for today is graphing. Okay, graphing on here. Now, this has just one letter, right? Just one variable, not 2. But sometimes you'll get more than one variable. Now you have y and x.
Isn't that an equation?
Okay, yeah, that's an equation, you're right. Okay. But I can just as easily go like this. All of a sudden. Now it's an inequality, right? How do I graph an inequality? The same way you do an equation. Where do you start? At 3. So 1, 2, 3. Where do I go?
Up one.
All right, 2. Good. Up 1, right 2. I keep going. And I do the same thing this way. I just go opposite. Okay, now if this was that equation, I would just make a line, arrows, done.
So
Right.
it's the same thing as physics.
Yeah.
Unequality.
So that's all I would have to do. But now I'm making an inequality, things change. Okay, now if it's equal to, that's my line. That's all I draw. You guys look up here. If you have equal to, you draw a solid line. Okay, but if it doesn't have equal to, it's just less than or just greater than, it's going to be dashed. So if I go like this, now I just change my mind by going like this. Now it's a dash line. Okay, the last part you have to do is the shading. Because remember over here we said, okay, the answer could be what? What could the answer be for this one?
Anything less than 7.
Yes, it could be 2, -1, 3, 4. Okay, anything less, right? Same thing here. It could be anything bigger. 8, 9, 10, 100, whatever. How about this one? Anything in the middle, right? So anything 4, 3.5, 4.5. Okay, anything in the middle. This one's kind of the same. It's kind of like that. Except we're going to shade to show where the answers are. Now, if it says y is greater, you're going to shade on the top, above the line. Okay, let's go above. So that means up here, above the line, that's where all the answers are. So, for instance, that point right there, that's at -3 and 5. That's an answer. Okay, but it's 2 numbers instead of just 1 like this. Because remember, I got 2 letters, so now I got 2 numbers for my answer. X and Y. This one could be an answer. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7 and 1. That's an answer. Okay, up here, right on that y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there at 0, 8. That's an answer. That's an answer. That's an answer. All those are answers. Okay, anyway, as long as it's above that line. Now, remember I said here, the answer has to be x is less than 7, right? So can the answer be 7?
No.
No, it has to be less, right? How about here? Can the answer be 7? Yes, because it's close. It can be equal to 7. Same thing here, though. Remember how there's no equal sign? So that means that your answer cannot be on the line. So here at -4, 1, right on the line, that's not an answer. That doesn't work. It can't touch the line. As long as it's above, we're good. If it touches the line, no. That can change. Equal to, now the line is what?
Solid.
Solid. And now that point is an answer. Yes.
How do you know we should which side do we
Which shape? Good question. So the question was, which side do you shape? Right? You need to look at the symbol, and if it's greater, so if the mouth opens to the Y, we're going to shade above the line.
Okay, because they're positive.
Not because it's positive. Positive, negative doesn't have to do with whether it's shading above. It's the direction of the sign. Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like as you go up, that's more positive, right? If you go down like this, less than, that's more negative. So yeah, you would shade below. So I could change this problem. Let's say I go like this. Now it's less than, so what's in it? Instead of shading here, now the answer is down there. Okay. So if it's less, I shade under. If it's a greater, I shade above. Okay, now let's look at another example. What if I have something like, let's go less than 3x plus 1. All right. So graph the same way. Starting 1, except this time I'm going to go 3 and over 1. Okay, so now, what kind of line?
Solid.
Solid line, good. And now I have to shade above or below?
Above. No, below.
Less than, below, oh, sorry, below. But where is below? Is below on the left side or the right side? The right side. Think it's the right?
Right.
Right? That's right. It is on the right. Okay.
Because it's method.
So if you think about it, because you're watching this video, if I take the line and I lean it this way, see how it's leaning this way? Okay, that means underneath the line is here. And if I kind of tilt it back up a little bit, that right side is still under the line because it's tilted to the right. Okay, and above the line would be the left side over here. Whereas if I switch it now, let's say the line looks like that. Under the line is now on this side, right? Because it's leaning this way, right? And above the line will be here. So now, and the way you can see the difference now is, let's say it's negative, right? Let's say greater than negative 1 over 3 plus 2. It's now a negative slope. Start at 2. Now we go
Down.
1 or 3. And this is going to be
Dash.
dash line. Good. And now it says to shade. Which one? Where are we going? Above or below?
No.
Y is
Bigger.
greater than, which means above. Right? So here. Okay, now let's say, let's do a steep line, one that's more like this, right? So let's go greater than or equal to -3. Let's go like -2. Okay, so -2 start here. Now we go down 3, right 1. Go back up this way. 1, 2, 3. And now this line will be
Solid.
all right, solid. All right. Now, notice both of these lines lean like this, right? They're both leaned to the left. This one's like really leaned over. This one's still kind of steep, but they're both greater than. So which side is greater, the left or the right of this line?
Right.
The right side. I'm gonna use a different color actually to show for this line. So the shade for this line is now here. Now, this now leads us to tomorrow's assignments. Because in tomorrow's assignments, you're not going to graph one inequality, you're going to graph 2 at the same time. 2 together. So that means you have to do 2 lines, dash or solid, and 2 shades. Okay, but the key is, where is the shade the same for both lines?
Oh.
Okay, so now, if I take 4 lines, what happens? I make, let's take, or sorry, 2 lines, that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 areas, right? It's like a pizza, right? If I cut the pizza twice, now I have 4 big slices. So which slice is the solution? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? What do you guys think? What do you think the answer is for this one?
3.
All right, it's 3. Because look, are both of them shaded here?
No.
Are both of them shaded here?
No.
How about here?
No.
You see any blue right there? No. But they're both here. So the answer to this question is there. Okay, so when you have to do 2 of them at the same time, you got to figure out where they're the same. Now let's talk about what's an answer. And I'm gonna have you guys practice this. I'll have you first start with just 1. Okay. Now remember I told you any answer can be in the shaded area, right? So that's an answer, that's an answer, That's an answer. Anything in the shade is good. But the question is, when it's on the line, is it an answer? So I want you guys to tell me if this is the answer or not. Is that point right there an answer?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. How about that point right there?
Yes.
How about that point right there?
No.
No, why?
Because it's a dash line.
Right, it's a dash line.
Open.
That doesn't work. How about right where they cross?
Yeah.
You think, yeah? What do you think? No. It's a yes. Okay, so because this line is solid, just because that one's solid, and at that point it's solid, it actually works because it works for that first one, or this one here. Okay, but as soon as you're not on that middle point, now I could change that though. What if I did this? Now it's equal. Now this line becomes
Yeah.
dashed, and none of the points on the line work, no matter where you are. Okay. All right. So here's some special cases that I want to talk about. Again, I'm just doing this because I'm doing a video. I'm throwing a line at you. Special cases. Y is greater than 2x. Okay. Y is greater than or equal to x. Or y is, let's say, less than 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one here, there's an x, so it's still a line. But the b, the start is 0. So when I graph that, I just start at 0 and then I do the same thing. Okay, so that's just like the last one we did. It's just your starting point is 0 instead of some other number. And then it's going to be a dash line. It says y is greater, so I go above. Should be here. Okay. Now, in this one, what's the starting point?
0.
Same. What's the slope though? But 1. So up 1 over 1. Okay, and solid. Greater than, but, right? Now this one, notice how what's different about this one?
Doesn't have x.
Doesn't have x. What kind of line is this? You guys know?
Dash.
Not down. This is straight across. Okay, straight across at 2. So if it's just y with no x, you go to 2 on the y, and I go straight across. It's a flat line. Okay, and then it says y is less. Where do you think I shade?
Down.
Yeah, shade down here. Okay, so once you know it's straight across, it's pretty easy to shape because it's easy to see above and below. Okay. Last one. Last example, which is like this one. X is less than 7. Now remember we graphed it here on just the number line, but we can also put it on here. But you do the exact same thing. Except here, I go to the X line, okay, or X axis. And now I start at 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I don't put an open dot. Instead, just like this is a flat line this way, just X is a vertical line up and down.
Oh.
Okay. And then this, let's say I put equal sign to be solid, or dashed, that's the same. So I'll make it dashed. But now the question is, where do I shade it?
Right.
Okay, think about this one. So when X was less, you went that way. X is greater, you went that way.
Oh.
It's the same thing.
Okay. So that means the left is going to be here.
Right. X is less because the X gets smaller.
Okay.
Because it gets smaller, X is this way. So now the shape is this way. So now if I had to do these two together, the answer would be right here. Okay. Pause the recording.